First of all, I want to thank everybody for the popularity of the short I did yesterday on how society seems to be moving toward transactional relationships everywhere you turn. I am so grateful to everybody for that. I want to confide something. Before I did that video, that's why I looked so frazzled on that video. I got discouraged and I started crying a little bit, and because things are not going well with the job search. And I started crying a little bit, and I went to the Lord, and I'm like, if you could just give me some encouragement, please, Lord, just please give me some encouragement. Even if one of my videos goes viral, I would be so grateful. And then it seems to have gone viral. The short seems to have gone. I can't believe this is happening. I'm so grateful, everybody. And I do want to expand upon that idea. I felt like that if everybody wanted a voice about that badly, that maybe I needed to kind of expand upon why I did that video. So if y'all will bear with me, I will explain a little bit. As you know, during this whole process of not working and going to school, I thought I had that one client that was waiting on me. Now, I made it very clear to the client and the client's family, who, by the way, had been extremely kind and cooperative, that I needed regular work, that this was my sole client, that I couldn't, once a week was not going to cut it. I needed regular work. Well, the client's family was thrilled about this because they all live out of state, and they felt like the client needed regular care because they can't be there for their loved one, and they were just thrilled to death that I was willing to be there 3 times a week. So I had explained, what I'm going to ask you guys for is 3 half days a week to start. And then as y'all get used to me and you get to know me, you get to know my style, then you can make up your minds if you want me to come in more often, but I have to have 3 half days a week to start. And I think I had confided that the client did call me the other day, and we made arrangements for me to take the client to the coast for one day. It would be a day trip to the coast. And on the basis of, well, we're going to be working together anyway, I can do that. I need the money. Sure as shooting, I need the money. I agreed. Well, I don't know exactly how it fell apart, but I did hear from the client's family, and the client had done pretty much a right about face. The family said the client had gotten extremely unhappy, if not angry, at the thought of my, being there 3 times a week. And so I had already become a little bit discouraged with this client before, because there was an occurrence one day, weeks ago, where I thought, okay, this person is going to start using me as, how shall I say this? Catch as catch can. Not regular home care slots. They're just, oh, I need a ride to the grocery store. Oh, I need a ride to the doctor. Oh, I need a ride to the coast. It started becoming clear to me that this is the way the client was veering in her thought processes. And so the client did text me that indeed was what, as far as the client was concerned, the game plan was going to be. And I'm like, I don't think so. Because I made it very clear to you and everybody else that I need work. I'm not doing this because I have time to donate. This is how I make my living. And at that time, the client said that was understood, So I got upset because I felt taken advantage of. I felt as if I had been strung along. I felt that the client's attitude was more, I'll make her come around to my way of thinking, I'll string her along, make her think that she's going to get out of this what she needs while I get out of it what I want. And what I want is to just call her up on the cusp, and I want to go to the coast, I want to go to the doctor, I want to go grocery shopping, I want to go to the next big city for the afternoon. That's not what I'm there for. I can certainly do those things, and I have done those things. That's fine. However, I had made it clear from the get-go what I needed in order to make this work, and it was tentatively agreed upon, especially with the client's family. The client's family were thrilled. They were actually hoping that I would build up to being with the client 3 8-hour days a week at the very least. So they're starting to mow outside. I may have to pause for a bit and go move my car out of the way, but we'll see about that. If they knock on the door, I'll pause and go do that. But anyway, it just became very clear, and the background to this is extremely unpleasant. We're talking about someone who is on the sunny side of 100 years. And this person knows better than to treat people this way. This person was brought up in a time in our country where relationships were meaningful. And so, that was my first thought. You're old enough to know better. You're old enough to know better. So, the second thing was that, how shall I say this without just being really, really harsh? I just felt that there was a huge element of manipulation that was going on, and certainly with the client's family, because as time has gone on, it's become very clear to me that the elder of the children seems to be actually frightened of this person, and the younger ones are like, look, we need to just start laying down the law and say, if you don't start cooperating with us and the people who have your best interest in mind, we're going to have to find some form of assisted living for you so that we can know you're safe and we can breathe. Now, what was going on was that the family was really happy that I seem to have stepped into the picture, because they all live out of state, and they were spending at least $1,500 a pop to come in to this state and be there for this loved one, basically whenever the loved one said, hey, get over here, So I don't want to sound too unpleasant and bitter. I'm disappointed. I hope I'm not bitter. But basically that seems to have been the arrangement. And the family was like, we can't afford $1,500 every time this person wants us in the state. We can't afford that. That's a huge chunk of money out of our living expenses. And as often as this person wants us to come in and take care of this, that, or other issue, then, our bank accounts have taken a huge hit. It's not feasible. So it became very clear as time went on that this person was very used to having their own way, and they were very used to people bending over backward to give them their own way in order to avoid unpleasantness. So, my thoughts were, I didn't enter this so that I could be used. I didn't enter into this so that I could be taken for granted. I got through with that. I gave that the heave-ho 3.5 years ago. I'm not entering to that kind of relationship with anybody again. And something else that was very revealing about this person's character is that before I had stepped into the picture, there was an older lady from the church that they both went to who had been doing stuff like this for this person for, I think, a good 3 years. Well, this person was almost a daily part of the client's life. Evidently, from what I understand from her children and from her friends, there were phone conversations quite frequently. This kind lady from the church would drop everything and go running whenever the client said that they needed anything. I understand that. That was a voluntary basis from a member of the church. I get that. That's fine. That's fine. But that's not where I was coming from. The disturbing part of this is, and I hope that I'm not engaging in gossip. I truly hope I'm not engaging in gossip. But somebody who is fairly well acquainted with the client said that this woman who's been, and the client also confided this to me, that this woman who had been volunteering as a church member for so many years has basically been diagnosed with a terminal illness and doesn't have long to live and is failing visibly daily. Well, acquaintances confided to me that they were puzzled because the client never even mentions this woman to anyone. The client never says, well, how is so-and-so? I'm so concerned. That person was so good to me for so many years. I'm just devastated that this is happening. I can't believe that this has happened to this wonderful person. People say that the client never mentions this person. Her family had always also confided to me that at some point she seemed to be kind of warming up to the idea of my stepping in, which of course turned out not to be true. But at the time, that seemed to be the case. And she said, well, she's lost this other person permanently. This person is obviously not going to be able to do this anymore. And I think that's why she's kind of warming up to the idea of you taking over. That seems sad to me. That seems sad to me. Because it was as if the attitude was, okay, this person from the church is no longer of use to me. So now I'll direct my attention to little Wendy over here, and I'll manipulate her into thinking I'm doing what she needs for me to do, while I just maintain my own agenda. And now that this person from church can no longer serve me, I'm no longer concerned with that person from church. It's very cruel. The attitude just seemed to me to be so very cruel, and I can testify myself that in the phone conversations and the text messages that I have received from this client, she only mentioned that other person once. Transactional. As soon as that other person ceased to be of use to her, she seemed honestly to cease to exist altogether. Now, I have no doubt that if and when the time comes, she'll be the first at her funeral. But I give you my word, she truly does not seem to care about this person. She truly seemed to care about this person only insofar as this person could serve her. And this client is almost 100 years old. I'm sickened. I'm sickened. Because when it happens to you, when it's your husband that does you that way, and it's your children who do you that way, you think, you kind of get this impression that, okay, they're out of the ordinary. This is just a one in a million thing. Real people don't act that way. I'm sorry. Real people act that way. Real people are consistently looking at relationships in the light of, what can I get out of this person? What can I get out of this relationship? How does this benefit me? And when it ceases to benefit me, then we will no longer have a relationship. Certainly, I think where adult alienated children are concerned, I think that very much plays into it. Where narcissistic family systems are concerned, that very much plays into it, because when the scapegoat says, look, I'm through living this way, well, the family system is not getting out of the scapegoat what they want anymore, so what do? They trash the scapegoat, literally and figuratively. So when when it's happened in your own family, when you happen to be that particular scapegoat, whatever position you hold in that family, whether it's mother, daughter, sister, brother, whatever, and you get trashed, you think, oh, well, it's just my family. It is not. And I've often wondered why corporate America, in all of its little satellite situations, operates like a narcissistic family system. And it could be because the world is filled with narcissistic systems and symptoms too. Yeah. So I just kind of wanted to expand on that. If y'all will excuse me, I'm going to pause just a moment and I'm going to answer the door. Okay, I'm back. So I'm concerned about where society is going. It's frightening to feel like everybody is just on the lookout for what they can get out of other people. It's not just manipulation. It's a form of abuse. It truly is. And I'm just so blessed that you guys took an interest, because I was feeling very isolated and very alone because of this yesterday. I mean, you've spent almost 2 months being unemployed, and the money just keeps disappearing and nothing's coming in. I know God has it covered. I don't know where he's going with this. I know that he does. But yes, I was feeling very, very discouraged yesterday. When I looked at that video, I thought, man, I was showing it. But yeah, thank you all for your interest. Thank you for your views. And above all, keep the comments coming. I mean, I'll do my best to reply. I surely will. And yeah, this society needs prayer. It needs prayer big time. And I don't know if y'all can hear Jasper or not, but he's getting he's telling me I need to get off the computer. But I love you guys, and I'm thankful I kind of hit a nerve, because I was just feeling so alone yesterday. And today, I'm not feeling so alone. Thank you all. Love you all. And keep the comments and the likes coming, please. Bye-bye.